good day, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from today. It's such a privilege and it's such a great honor for us to come again to another episode of coming to you guys and talking to you about what we've been doing. And today, there's such much pleasure for me to be joined together with my dear friend and sister, who's not a stranger anymore on this channel, but she's like for us, she's home. As I
Yeah,
said, I love Abby and I love doing life with her, and it's such another
love you right
privilege.
back.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege on
Mhm.
day 12 of the challenge for us to come back again and to talk to you guys. I'm just going to try to put my phone back on just in case somebody does does chat sense anything or things like that. I can't be able to see it because it's just difficult to navigate between two screens at the same time. Before I go into so much details, this morning I was running. For those who know, I love running, and Fridays are the days that I do my longish run. So today I did about 13 kilometers in the morning, and I was running. My mind is usually thinking of different things, but all of a sudden I was actually captivated by this common saying about the differences for people that see, if you give somebody a glass that is half, for a pessimist, they will look at it like that glass is half full, not half
Mhm.
empty. But for an optimist, they will look at it like half full. All of them have been given the same glass. There's no difference between the one who's been given the half full and the half empty. But some of us, we usually think of life like that. Sometimes we are thrown with so many different things. We face different situations and circumstances in life. And you find that we easily can say to ourselves, life sucks, life is so difficult, there's nothing good I can make out of life. Or you can actually decide and say, you know what? It is what it is, as they say. When life gives you a lemon, instead of complaining about it, you can actually begin to thank God for that lemon and make a lemonade out of it. And so that is why this afternoon, my sister Abby and myself are going to be talking about things that are very practical, talking about how we can be able to celebrate successes, no matter how small it is, and also how we can be able to deal with failure. But before I go into too much talking, I love talking, that's why I'm a teacher. I'm just going to allow Abby to introduce herself, talk a little bit about herself, talk to us, tell us who is Abby, what does she love doing during her pastime, what does she do, and then after that, we will continue with that topic of discussion for today.
Wow, thanks, Claire. Thanks for having me. And let me warn you, today I have a surprise for you. It's coming. So, but before that, my
Yes.
name is Abigail. Uh, I go by the name Blessed Abby. I am a mother,
Yeah.
a wife, and a life coach. Life coach is my passion. Originally, what I did in campus is agriculture. I studied agriculture, but
Mm-hmm.
then after working in agricultural farms for the last 13 years, I
Mm-hmm.
decided enough is enough. I will now follow my passion, which is
Mm-hmm.
coaching. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, my passion is just seeing transformation in lives, one life
Mm-hmm.
at a time, when a life transforms, because
Mm-hmm.
I am a result of a transformational journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to give back to the world. So, what do I love to do in pastime? I've said before, walking,
Mm-hmm.
my walks, my fitness. I'm not a runner like you. You say 13 kilometers, and I'm like, oh, we need to rename you Claire the Gazelle or something. I, I don't think I can do 13, but
Mm,
I love walking. I love reading transformational books,
mm.
watching a movie on Friday. I say on
Oh.
Friday specifically because I don't watch movies all the time. Those are part of the things, and just going for a walk, a moonlight walk, or just a walk, a quiet walk out there. I love that. So thank you. That is me in a nutshell.
Lovely. And again, as I said, Abby, welcome so much. We really enjoy having you around. And I was telling you
Thank
earlier
you.
on, like I rewatch these a lot, like particularly stuff that we've done together,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much nuggets that you usually just throw in there and you talk about
Wow.
them so easily. Like just I was like, oh wow, that was like last week. Something that stuck to me was the protection that you
Mm-hmm.
get from your subconscious mind. And I've just been processing it the whole week. Like when my mind says like let's go for a cookie and I'm like we are
Mm-hmm.
fasting, shouldn't be going for a cookie, and I'm like Abby, that kind of thing.
Yeah. The mommy that is asking, why are you keeping yourself from the cookie? Why
Mm,
not have, the chocolate and all that at this time? Why?
mm,
So,
mm,
and just putting breaks where they are not even supposed to be. So when you
absolutely.
realize that, you begin to win the battle.
Absolutely. And so,
Yeah.
Abby, I just want us to have a bit of conversation either way,
Mm-hmm.
really, because we were talking about success, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
watched a clip of yours yesterday and then I realized it disappeared, but I need to go and look for it today. I was watching a clip
Mm-hmm.
about parenting and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, this is so full of so much, like everybody needs to watch this clip really because it was so much full of so much gold. But as I was
Thank
thinking
you.
about it, I was like, you're welcome. I was thinking about like sometimes we feel so much for the failures, like as parents we calculate so much of the failures and we can easily lash it on our children, on our spouses, on our partners, wherever it is. But then we start to
Mm-hmm.
think about the blessings, as the song says, counting your blessings one by
Yeah.
one. It will
Mm-hmm.
actually surprise you what God has actually done for you than thinking about the things that you don't have, like going back to the story of the pessimist versus the optimist, thinking about the
Mm-hmm.
thing that you have and making better of the thing that you have rather than
Mm-hmm.
wishing, I wish I had a family of 4 kids, I only have one.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had long hair, I only have short hair. I wish I, those kind of things. And I just wonder in your life, how do you usually really celebrate success? How do you identify those moments and how do you make best to celebrate those moments rather than complaining when life hasn't given you an orange and gives you a lemon?
Now let me begin with my surprise. You are not expecting me, so you are allowed to come and beat me after this.
I
So
know.
as well, not even just as a coach, but more of now as a coach, one of the
Mm,
things we do is celebrate the successes.
yeah.
I walk a journey with my client, and then they get to a point and they have overcome something, fear, self-esteem.
Mm,
And so, as I thought about this live stream today, I remembered something.
yeah.
I remembered that we lost connection after campus for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Then somehow you found me. And then
Yeah.
I remember one thing you said is you told me, I weigh so much, I can't even send you my selfie. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember.
Yes.
So,
I
so as I watched you now going live and being comfortable, I thought this girl has a win. I think I need to remind her, and I'm going to do it live so that
Oh my
everybody sees
God.
where she has come from. Because I remember that day I was telling you I'm into these jogging, I'm into these
Mm,
running, and then you are telling me I don't even know you sent me your son's photo, but you could not send me
I
your
know.
own.
I
So
know.
now when I
Uh,
look at you, when I look at you skipping, actually that video when you are skipping
mm,
is the one that reminded me. And I thought, girl, we need to celebrate you.
uh,
So congratulations.
oh,
So
I
sorry.
I am a very emotional person, but Abby, that really touched me because I remember vividly the conversation that we
Mm-hmm,
had, and at that moment, Abby, I was struggling.
mm-hmm,
I was telling my sister, like I remember I became like size 16 I have never been a
Mm-hmm.
16. Even when we were in campus in Egerton, I used to
Yeah.
be a size, if I'm really big, size 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
remember this day that we were going to church, and
Mm-hmm.
I went to my drawer, to my
Mm-hmm.
closet, and I was
Mm-hmm.
struggling to fit in. Like I looked, and I
Wow.
remember I wore a jeans a size
Mm-hmm.
16, and still it
Ooh.
felt like I was like, oh my God, I was crying to church. I didn't even want, at the end of the service, I basically sneaked outside. I didn't want anybody
Mm-hmm.
to see me at all. I was like, you can't see
Uh-huh.
me in that situation. So you talking
Mm-hmm.
about that really,
I
really touched me.
Yeah, I just remember that, and I thought sometimes we forget our wins.
Mm.
Now, before I make you cry, because if I go on, you'll start crying.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So don't beat me after this. So
No,
now,
I'll love you more, Abby. Thank you for reminding me. And that's one of the
yeah.
things that really encourages me, because I look at back and I'm like, Claire, I don't want to go back to where I was before. Of course, let's not
Mm-hmm,
also make it look like I was just big for the sake of being big. Of course, having gone through childbirth, and we have different experiences with having children and things like that. And there might be somebody out there today that will be struggling to think like, I have this baby and I'm fighting with shifting all this baby weight, and it's kind of really difficult. How can I be able
yeah.
to make it? Of course, Abby, I would love you to talk a
Mm-hmm,
little bit about it, because also you've gone through so much transformation. And I was looking at your video the other day talking
yeah.
about how you have gone through all that transformation. And to be honest, it's one of those things that
Mm-hmm,
you look back and you're like, how did I make it? How did I do this? It's
yes.
really insane. Over to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So please share some before and after
I
photos
will.
if you ever took one anyway.
I will.
Now, coming back to celebration,
Mm,
I never used to celebrate myself. I never used to be, the kind of person who sees their wins,
mm,
because I would always be now that pessimistic person who looks at life from the cup half
mm, mm,
empty.
mm,
So now, right now, I have, maybe because through my coaches, I have learned to celebrate every small win.
mm,
Like I look back and I just celebrate. I enjoy, like, how did I do today? I even look back at my, see how did I handle a certain situation? How
mm,
did I, which win did I make? What did I do right today? And
mm,
just celebrate it, because I also understand, going back to the brain
mm.
loves it when you celebrate yourself.
Yeah.
When you celebrate yourself, the brain goes like, yeah, so we can
Mm,
do it
mm,
tomorrow. But when you don't, then your brain feels like there's nothing new.
mm.
So the nothing new to accomplish, so nothing new to do.
Yeah.
So I celebrate my small wins,
Mm-hmm.
every win that I have. As soon as I remember, I just
Mm.
celebrate it.
So,
Maybe.
so maybe
Mhm,
practical. Sorry for cutting you through, Abby. Practically,
mhm.
how do you do that celebration? You say you celebrate small wins. So, what do you do with those? Like, how? Like, if you were celebrating, what do you do on your celebration days?
You should find me like just doing, the dance. The
Yeah.
dance of you did it,
Victory.
you did it, you did it, you did it. So
Yeah.
I just love, uh, because I don't think celebration is all about, okay, sometimes I reward myself.
Mm,
Like I go out there, buy myself something nice and tell
mm.
myself you did so well,
Yeah.
because I also believe in rewarding myself.
Yes. Yes.
So when you reward yourself, it communicates to you that you are a hero,
Yeah.
and it gives you the energy to keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but my biggest form of celebration is just clapping at myself, going
Wow.
before my mirror and just saying, girl, you're doing. Now, let me tell you one I celebrated today.
Yeah.
Today, I told you one of my goals is my waistline. my
Yes.
waist circumference. So it's
Yes.
been, when I was expecting, now
Yeah.
when I'm expectant, or the times that I've been expectant, I am the girl who shoots to 100 kilos.
Wow.
I'm even afraid of weighing.
Mm,
So now, I go to this weighing scale and I tell the nurse, do I really have to weigh? Honestly, I don't want to.
mm,
I'm even scared.
mm,
So at that weight, and then now after having my last baby,
mm,
I went to around 90 or 95. So I was
wow.
going down slowly.
Mm,
Now you can imagine somebody who should be in 60s being at
yes.
100 or 90s.
I've been there.
So, sorry. So now today, after doing all the workouts and the work every day, my waist stuck at around 34. Now
Mm.
I wanted to get better. So today I it went to now 33.5. And guess what? Today it's at 33. So don't I have a reason to celebrate?
Exactly. Exactly. Well done.
so,
Well done. We are
so
celebrating you with that. Yeah.
yes. So I went to my mirror and
Yeah.
I weighed. I
Yeah.
measured
Yeah.
just in front of my mirror, and I was like, "Yeah, you're doing
Clapping.
great. You're
Yeah, we're
doing great."
clapping for you. Well done. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So
Wow.
that's my uh, biggest, I think, form of
Mm,
celebration. Maybe I
mm,
should
mm,
introduce something more, but
mm.
that's what I do most.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting, Abby, because for me, that's also I made a short video the other day talking about my weight loss journey through this
Mhm.
intermittent fasting that we're doing. You know, in the beginning, I just was like, I want to do a challenge. And then I thought, I've done running and I don't want to do too much running,
Mhm.
but of course, because I want to look after my knees when I'm older, running can be a bit rough on the knees if you're not careful with it. And I thought, let's
Mhm.
try something else. So I said, I'm going to do this intermittent fasting journey. And then I was like, I don't know if anybody can do it with me. Let me just put it out there. And so when I
Mhm.
weighed myself on day 10, I'm not a great fan of weighing for sure. I don't like
Mhm.
weighing, as you're saying, like I see a scale and I'm
Mhm.
like, even the one that we had, I think got to a point the battery finished and I didn't bother buying at all. But then when we
Mhm.
started the challenge, I was telling my sister, let's go and buy a scale. So that was a commitment I made. On day 10, when
Mhm.
I saw the shift, like, and I was just like, doing 5 kilometers run in the morning, and then when I come back from work, I do my fast and I just finish, and then sometimes I just eat as normal, just being careful with my carbohydrate, as I say, the
Mhm.
self-proclaimed carb addict. So when I saw
Mhm.
that, it was so motivating, and I was like,
Wow.
I can actually drop my weight even more. And now as you're saying, like I understand that kind of rewarding as you're talking about. For
Mhm.
example,
Yeah.
for me, mine is more different. I've never clapped of myself. So you've taught me something new that I'll try to do as well. But usually when
Mhm.
I have a win, I am so, let's say, if I have run, I run and then I've achieved a target and things like that, I will reward
Mhm.
myself. I love rewarding myself. Like I can buy myself a new pair of joggers, or I can get myself new shoes, of course, just kind of to say, like, tomorrow we're gonna be running again. I found over time I usually buy more running gear when I feel like I've done
Mhm.
something good. I get more running
Yeah.
gear. And I love coffee. I'm a great lover of coffee. Anybody who knows me know, like, I'm a coffee lady. So sometimes I
Mhm.
can go out just to a shop and buy myself a coffee, and I'll sit down as I drink that coffee and just remember how God has been good. Like, remember the story you're telling me at the beginning that brought a little bit tears in my eyes, just like, how have we done this if it wasn't for
Mhm.
grace? And that has
Yes.
really been helpful quite a lot.
Mhm.
And so maybe just in other ways now, because so that it doesn't look like we are always having wins,
Mhm.
but also there have been
Mhm.
times when life happens, isn't it? Life
Yes.
happens and
Yes.
stuff happens, and
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
fail. Maybe like you wanted that waistline to go even more and it hasn't gone that much, even though you are celebrating. Or maybe even somebody who started with us this journey of intermittent fasting and they found it difficult to keep on going, and then they get to a point now they have failed, and now somebody,
Mhm.
I love to call it, Abby, like being stuck in transition. You know you shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be there. You
Yeah.
should be celebrating yourself and the wins, but you are so
Mm-hmm.
much focused on the negative. You're so much focused on the failure that you are kind of
Mm-hmm.
just stuck in there and you're like, I can't come out of there. And to be honest, as you're talking to me now, I understand more because you said this last week and you keep on saying about the mind being concentrating on the negative. That our mind just says, Abby, you are a failure, you are like the story I was reading, I was listening to you yesterday talking about your music teacher that said you can't sing and you thought you can never do
Mm-hmm.
anything
Mm-hmm.
about it. And somebody is stuck
Mm-hmm.
in that place of transition and it just feels like they are bitter
Mm-hmm.
with themselves, they're not just getting out. Could you speak us to us a little bit? How do we get out of that, or how do you practically deal with failure?
Um, First is understanding that failure doesn't mean we have lost it.
Mm,
Failure is part of our lives, and it's just a transition. Forgive
mm.
my dog.
That's okay.
I hope,
It's part of the
yeah.
screaming.
Yes. So you realize even in the video it was somewhere.
Yes, I
So
saw it. Beautiful.
yeah. So failure is a necessary part of life.
Mm,
I read a quote that said, "Successful people see failure as an opportunity,
mm,
but unsuccessful people see failure as an opportunity to give up."
mm,
So they are both opportunities, but one in the negative, the other one in the positive.
mm.
So when you learn that, you now begin to embrace it as part
Yeah.
of life. When it happens, you don't beat yourself.
Mm,
Then another important thing is self-love.
yeah.
You love yourself. I always say, be your number one best friend,
Mm,
because it's very hard for other people to love you more than you love yourself.
yeah.
You got to love yourself first, because
Mm,
people think that loving yourself is selfish. There are people who don't embrace the
mm,
whole self love idea.
mm.
But loving yourself is not a sin. It's not selfish. It's just filling your cup
Yeah.
and fill it to the brim, let it
Mm,
run over, so
yeah.
that the rest of us are having from your overflow. We are
Yes.
not taking from the same cup as you. Your
Mm,
cup is full, it has run over, so now we are taking from the overflow.
yeah.
So you love yourself, be
Mm-hmm.
your number one best friend,
Mm-hmm.
so you can tell yourself, Abby, you can do this.
Yeah.
You can do this again. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't make it now, but you have a chance tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then be empathetic with yourself.
Yeah.
Where you can just fit in your own shoes and see
Mm,
yourself as a human being who does
mm,
not have to be perfect, but you have an allowance to walk in
mm-hmm.
your imperfections. I
Mm.
love a certain lady who says, "Be perfect in your imperfections."
Yeah. I love that.
So yeah, so when you allow yourself to be perfect in your imperfections, you just go out and you're ready to face it again tomorrow. So
Mm,
like personally, I love waking up early. I want to wake
mm,
up at 4 a.m.
mm.
But there are those
Wow.
days I find myself in bed at 5 a.m., 5:15.
Mm,
Now, uh, years ago, I would wake up and now quarrel myself and tell
mm,
myself, now, why are you in bed right now? Are you even
mm,
going to make it to be the person you
mm,
want to be? But
mm.
now, on the contrary, now I tell myself, you didn't make it today, but you made it yesterday, and you
Yeah.
can make it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you pick up your mat, like
Yeah.
Jesus would say, pick
Yeah.
up your mat
Yeah.
and go.
Mm,
So
mm.
that in just a summary, it's embracing failure as part of life.
Yeah.
And failure doesn't mean you giving up.
Yeah.
and then loving yourself, be your number one best friend, and be empathetic with
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Does not mean giving you allowances to fail. Like if now we are on intermittent fasting, and then you
Mm.
fail today, you fail tomorrow, you fail the other day, and you keep forgiving yourself in a wrong way, in a way that is
Mm.
self-defeating. It has to be self-empowering.
Absolutely. You know, when you're
Yeah.
saying that, I just picked up my phone because of something that I posted yesterday on the community page of my YouTube channel. And it was
Mm-hmm.
a quotation from Winston Churchill, and was saying, success
Mm-hmm.
is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the
Mm-hmm.
courage to continue that counts. And you know, so
Yes.
many times I think like when we fail, we don't
Mm-hmm.
allow ourselves, as you say, we're not empathetic enough to ourselves. We don't love ourselves enough to actually pick ourselves up and to say, Claire, you have failed. It doesn't mean that you are a failure. Those two
Mm-hmm.
things are different, isn't it? The
Yes.
difference
Yeah.
between failing and being a failure. Now, when you
Yeah.
start to think about yourself, and it goes back to the mindset, you start to tell
Mm-hmm.
yourself, Abby, you're a failure. So it means you're already speaking failure in everything you do. But if you remember that it is not final, failure is not fatal. The fact that you have failed does not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily mean you are dead. You know, as you're saying, I love when I wake up in the morning, I feel like the Bible even says in Lamentations, God's mercies are new every single morning, which means
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't just say, Abby, you failed yesterday. That's done and dusted. No,
Yeah.
He will come back again today and say, forget about yesterday. Today is a new day. Let's make today better than yesterday. And I love also
Mm-hmm.
where you're saying, don't excuse it and make it become a norm, because then what's the point of setting up goals if you don't set up goals? You're going to wake up at 4, and every single day you don't wake up at 4 and you don't make
Yeah.
any effort to make better
Mm-hmm.
that waking up at 4. Then you're better off just saying, I'm going to wake up at 6, rather
Yeah.
than pushing yourself
Mm-hmm.
through all those kind of pressures and things like that
Mm-hmm.
in the end,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And that reminds me that when you say that, it reminds me that, when you're doing any journey, any journey
Mm,
that you go through in life, there not it doesn't get to a place where it's perfect. For example, in weight loss, even the experts will tell you you can get to a place where you run all the miles and you plateau.
mm,
You just plateau. And so uh, like I loved what you said, that you're running and maybe now calorie check is the next thing you want to do,
yeah,
because the only thing that needs to change is the how you do things. So if
yeah,
this is not working, you go ahead and just shift and do something different or
yeah,
something differently, and
yeah,
then it will give you actually the results that you're looking for. But
yeah,
if you give up, then you lose it. You now
yeah,
lose it completely, and now you begin to be the failure that we are talking about. But then
yeah,
if you don't give up, you have every day is an opportunity for you to
yeah,
do better and better. And let
yeah.
me say something, that the words, like you say, failure, when you tell yourself I'm a failure, you are speaking to your brain.
Mm,
Now, if you say I'm a failure in the morning, like I didn't make it to wake up at 4 a.m., then I tell myself, you are a failure. Do you know
mm,
that my brain will go at work to look for evidence around me to show
absolutely.
me how much of a failure I am?
Yeah,
So failure will show up everywhere,
yeah.
everywhere. And the brain will be busy showing me
Mm,
that I'm a failure. But
mm,
when I tell myself I am a successful person, my
mm,
brain goes at work again to prove to
mm,
me, look for all the evidence that I am successful.
mm,
So the self-talk, now we go to from self-love and all that to self-talk. What do you tell
mm,
yourself? The story within yourself that you keep narrating to yourself is very,
yeah,
very important. You have to be careful and be your
yeah.
best best storyteller. We said be your number one best friend. Now
Yeah.
be your best storyteller.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes we treat ourselves like our worst enemies, kind of in
Mhm.
a way, as you're
Mhm.
saying, like we don't talk to ourselves a lot. When we talk to ourselves, we're talking about those negative talks, and
Yeah.
sometimes we just kind of allow. I was telling my sister the other day, I feel like sometimes we give the devil power to rule over us because he
Mhm.
doesn't know anything about us, but because when we are negative and when you're
Mhm.
constantly focusing on the negative, and sometimes you even start talking about it, you start
Yes.
telling
Yes.
him about your
Mhm.
life, about your failures, and then he starts now to bring stuff your way that will discourage you more, that will begin to kind of take you even down the hill at the end of the day. And it's because you
Mhm.
have allowed yourself to get
Yeah.
into that place that you're coming into agreement with that
Mhm.
negativity, with
Mhm.
that negative spirit, rather than saying,
Mhm.
okay, I have failed, yes, but I need to wake
Mhm.
up. And somebody said it's only a fool that does the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting
Yes.
different results. You can say, okay,
Mhm.
I've tried to lose weight. As I said, when we began this, Abby, you're reminding me when I refused to send you a selfie because I was like, I'm too big to even try to tell you my weight. It'll be like I thought you were gonna be judgmental. But then when you start to think of like, okay, I need to lose weight, and when I come to that plateau, as you're saying, if I continue just doing
Mhm.
the same thing, running 5 kilometers every day, doing intermittent
Yeah.
fasting 16 hours a day, and not change anything and expect to see differences, obviously
Mhm.
there will not be
Yeah.
differences. And then I'll start to say,
Yes.
oh, I can't do it. I can't make it. But then is how
Mhm.
true is that
Mhm.
speech you're talking to yourself? I love one of the Bible verses in Philippians 4:8. Whatsoever
Mhm.
things that are true, whatsoever things that have a good report, whatsoever things that are trustworthy, like doing that taste of time, thinking, Claire, what am I thinking about myself? What am I conversing with myself? What am I talking about myself? Is that true? Is that of a good report? Is that
Mhm.
helpful? Is that
Mhm.
beneficial in any way? And I think if we allowed ourselves to process things through that
Yeah.
lens of truth
Mhm.
versus
Mm.
the length of my reality might be, okay, Claire, you have not lost weight. But the truth is that I can still lose weight. Am
Mhm.
I going to go for the truth, or am I going to go for the reality? And of course, one
Mhm.
thing that, Abby, I think our viewers need to listen, we're not talking about empty talk where you just positively confessing everything,
Yes.
everything will be okay, everything, that you forget the reality that you have to put in some
Yeah.
work. You can't just
Mhm.
confess and say, I'm going to be a millionaire, and not wake up, go to work, and expect millions in your account. You're not just going to say, I'm
Mhm.
going to lose weight, and then just sit back, go to McDonald's, eat McDonald's every single day. I'm not saying there's anything bad with McDonald's, but your diet and your actions should
Mhm.
actually correlate with what you want to be, with what you want to do. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Abby?
Yes, I would say that that self conversation. Remember, everything you're telling yourself, you're first listening.
Mm,
Your brain is listening.
mm,
So when you tell yourself, I'm going to lose weight.
mm,
Remember, it's a journey.
yeah.
I remember when I started my weight loss journey. I
Mm,
have said on my channel, it's with a group of ladies. We joined up. We just teamed up and put efforts together to encourage ourselves. So we would
mm,
we would do our exercises and
mm,
post our selfies there, sweaty
mm,
selfies, and just say, I did this today.
mm,
And there are days I would go to the weighing scale and nothing was happening. Nothing,
mm, mm.
you know. So I remember one of the things we told ourselves is we are doing this to feel good,
Yes.
and not for the hourglass figure,
Yeah.
you know. Because if I am looking for for example, I'm telling you about my waist circumference, and
Mm,
I've been walking, I've been doing these exercises, and the changes are very slow.
mm,
If I look at that, then I will give up.
yeah.
But then if I look at the progress,
Mm.
My coach used to say, look at progress over perfection.
Yeah.
Take it one step at a time.
Mm.
Just baby steps, every step you make in the right direction.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have re-uploaded the video. If you noticed it, I had done it wrongly because it didn't even have a description or a
Yes,
title.
like only date was like, oh, okay. But the content was amazing. So I sat down and
Yeah.
listened to every single thing. I was like, oh, everybody needs to listen to this. And I'm gonna talk about it in a minute because those who are watching, as I can see some people online, they need to go and
Mhm.
watch that video.
Thank you. So it begins with my baby trying
Mm.
to walk and then almost falling. But then look at babies.
Yeah.
Honestly, these people they don't give up.
Yeah.
They want to walk. They 2 steps, they fall down.
Mm.
2 steps, they fall down. But does a baby ever come to you and say, "Mommy, I've fallen down so many times. I'm not going to do this again. Enough."
No. No.
So just the way they are determined to do
Mm.
it every day,
Mm.
every day, we
Mm.
should just be that determined.
Mm.
Remember, every effort you put in every day
Yeah.
is what matters.
Yeah.
So as we go into this journey of life, what
Mm.
journey it is, if it's the weight loss, any self-improvement journey, let's go into it with the mind of making baby steps.
Yeah.
As long as I am moving in the right direction,
Yeah.
I just keep moving.
Yeah.
The only challenge would be a wrong direction. But if
Absolutely.
it's the right direction, even if you made 2 steps today,
Yeah.
just begin and move.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
love one thing that I picked it up again from your channel watching, I can't remember exactly which video, and you're talking about competition because sometimes I think when we fail, it's because
Mm-hmm.
we are measuring ourselves against
Mm-hmm.
somebody else's success. Somebody will
Yes.
say, Claire has lost 900 grams in 10 days of intermittent fasting. Why have I not lost 900 grams? As a result
Mm-hmm.
of that, now I'm a failure. I failed to lose the weight because what is it that she's been, and then it brings out unnecessary competition. It brings
Mm-hmm.
out some jealousy. It brings out
Mm-hmm.
envy. We start thinking like, oh, Abby, you must be cheating your way to doing these things and blah, 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 blah. Could you
Uh-huh.
please just
Mm-hmm.
talk a little bit about that? Because I know you bring it out so well that I don't even want to spoil alert for anyone so that whoever that goes to watch it can actually see what we're talking about.
One of the biggest challenges that most of us have is thinking that we are not good enough.
Mm.
That, excuse me, just a moment. We are not good enough in any area,
Mm.
in our parenting, in our work,
Mm.
in our weight loss journey. Now that that's our biggest subject here.
Yeah.
And when you say you're not good enough, who is it in comparison to?
Mm.
If you didn't have anyone to compare with,
Mm.
for example, for ladies, when you look at magazine cover,
Mm.
and that becomes your blueprint, that's what you want.
Mm.
Giving up is just around the corner.
Yeah.
But we forget that these people have done so much makeup, we don't even know
Yeah.
what they have done. In
Yeah.
reality, they may not be as polished as they look like.
Yeah.
And people are dying of depression looking at social media. I look at
Mm.
TikTok. When I take my video on TikTok, there's a
Yeah.
way it polishes and I look like a baby girl. So and when I do the same video on my normal camera, I'm thinking, no, I don't like this. I like the one on TikTok. But then
Whitewashed.
yes, it's been washed.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking you're not good enough,
Mm.
just ask yourself, who are you comparing yourself with?
Yeah.
Now, competition is healthy, because if
Mm,
we don't compete against anything, we will then just remain at comfort zone.
mm,
Where again, in comfort zone, nothing thrives there.
mm,
Comfortable place to be, but nothing grows in comfort zone.
mm.
But then I always say that the best competition is competing with me,
Yeah.
with the version I was yesterday.
Mm,
If I weighed 95 10, and now
mm,
right now I'm at 71.
mm,
I have not done the 10-day weighing. I should weigh.
mm,
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I have also lost a kilo, hopefully.
mm,
So
mm.
if I'm there, then there's a lot to celebrate.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
celebrate myself, because
Mm,
I have moved from the person I was then,
yeah,
and now I am where I am now. So I
yeah,
celebrate that.
yeah,
So comparison is unhealthy.
yeah.
Looking back in our lives is healthy only when
Mm,
we are looking back to see how far we've come.
absolutely.
If we look at behind us just to see how far we've come, that's
Mm,
healthy. But
mm.
then if we look back to regret, that's unhealthy.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I love just the final part that you said. Like, of course, I can go through the rest of everything, but I've got to rewatch this. I told you I sit down in my room and I'm like watching Abby and almost taking notes. One of the
Thank
things
you.
that somebody said that actually amazes me, the way you put it, and you put it so nicely, is
Mm-hmm.
when you're driving our cars, you find that the front mirror is always big, but the rear
Mm-hmm.
mirror is always small because you need to look back just to kind of glance at it. And you're like, okay,
Yes.
maybe yesterday I failed, or yesterday I did this, which is not nice. And then you kind of like, and you move on. But imagine
Mm-hmm.
somebody was saying, God did not give us eyes and the backside, because if
Mm-hmm.
he wanted us to
Mm-hmm.
constantly be looking at the back with regrets, with all this kind of things, he will have actually either removed our eyes and put them at the back, or he will have actually given us double eyes so that we can still look at the back and look at the front. But you
Mm-hmm.
can't move on to tomorrow. You can't
Yeah.
look at what the vision you have for tomorrow if you're constantly focusing in the past. If your past is
Mm-hmm.
constantly
Mm-hmm.
like kind of, you're carrying a baggage, you're carrying something in the past, and you're constantly wanting to move on. And that's why I think, as you're saying, sometimes if you're reference how you're looking ourselves, you're referencing with the wrong kind of reference point, it can be very
Mm-hmm.
discouraging. It
Yes,
can be
yes.
very demoralizing. It can be
Mm-hmm.
like you feel like, "Oh, I'm not making any progress," but because you're focusing too much at the back. And today, I'm sorry, I'm just going to be using a bit more scriptures to remind people. Even the Bible says, forget the former things, because God
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
in the business in the
Mm-hmm.
now of doing a new thing, doing a
Yes.
new thing with our bodies, giving us a new body, like a
Mm-hmm.
renewed and refreshed body. And I think um somebody was saying, I think it was you said it last week, like we might not have
Mm-hmm.
these necessarily these bodies when you go to heaven. We'll have transformed bodies, but we need to look after these bodies in
Mm-hmm.
the now.
Yes.
And there is all
Mm-hmm.
the resources that we need. So don't, if you're out there and maybe you're referring yourself to somebody that you've seen, and maybe it might be even Abby looking and saying like, oh wow, she's got this beautiful skin, the way she puts on her makeup, the way she does that, she can motivate you to become a better person. But let it not be
Mm-hmm.
the reference point that you're like, I must be like Claire, I must be like
Yeah.
Abby, because each
Mm-hmm.
one of us is beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
fearfully, wonderfully made. I
Yes.
like when the message says we are like extremely complexly made in such a way that
Uh-huh.
you don't want to start cheapening yourself by wanting to be like
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. You can look at somebody else's journey. You can try to learn from it. You can try to motivate yourself and be a better version of yourself, rather than
Yeah.
using it as a reference point. If this person has this, I must do. And actually, Abby, one day you told me, and I think that's when we were talking about the weight. You're saying some people, we might sometimes you might go to the restaurant, you'll not remember this, and you see
Mm-hmm.
somebody with a meal that they've ordered, and
Ah.
you've ordered a mandazi and
Yeah.
tea, and you're like looking and you're like, oh, they're having chicken, and you're like, I want that meal, but you don't know what is in that
Mhm.
meal. It's only the person who's eating it that knows what
Mhm.
is in there, and you're desiring that, and maybe they're like, I wish I just ordered that mandazi and chai
Yes.
because it's
Yeah.
a better, so being comfortable. Somebody told me the other day, and I was reflecting on it, like being comfortable in your skin, being
Mhm.
comfortable in who you are, and I usually say
Mhm.
in whose you are, that makes you like,
Mhm.
I don't want to be moved or swayed around with everything that comes my way, because at the end of the day, I will celebrate other people's wins, but I don't want to be like them. I want to learn from them, but be who I am at the end of the day.
Yeah. Can I mention that in the video you've talked about, I have mentioned that one of the things I struggled with the most for the
Mm,
longest part of my journey was self-esteem. I had
mm,
a terribly low self-esteem.
mm.
I would always compare myself to other people. Like I
Wow.
go to work and the way I'm dressed will be determined by what somebody else says or
Mm,
how other people are dressed. That was age,
mm,
just what they would say and
mm,
how they are dressed. So if
mm.
I went in with a black dress and they came in with red, then my black dress, when I the moment I left home, it was good. But then
Mm,
I get to work and it becomes bad and it's bad for the rest of the day.
mm,
Of course, my reference points were wrong because
mm,
just comparing myself to other people was a wrong thing for me to do. But then
mm.
we have to remember that the original version of you, no one can play that version better than you.
Yeah.
Uh, I, I had somebody say that when it comes to, say now, competition,
Mm,
the reason we compete is that we want to be a copy of someone else.
mm,
But
mm,
if we only played an original, because if this someone else was to give us their yesterday, then we would be shocked.
yeah.
We may not even want to walk their journeys.
Yeah.
So when we are walking, we have to
Mm,
remind ourselves that we are our own original. Yes,
yeah.
learn
Yeah.
from other people.
Yeah.
When I look at you, I learn so much from you. But then
Mm,
even if I worked so hard, I can never be you because tomorrow you'll
absolutely.
just do something different.
Yeah.
You will do
Yeah.
something different, and because I'm comparing, I will start
Mm,
feeling bad. I will
mm,
feel discouraged. So
mm,
the best I can do is learn from you,
yeah.
even be comfortable asking, how have you made it to
Yeah.
this place?
Yeah.
If you're willing to tell me, then I
Yeah.
learn from it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I borrow nuggets from here and there. But then
Mm,
the original me is the best because when I give my original, see me as authentic, so they can
yes.
come to me and
Yes.
and just love who I am for who I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Abby, we're just
Mhm.
gonna take a minute break to kind of, in a way, appreciate a few people that I can see some people are watching. So there's somebody who's
Mhm.
dropped a chat in the chat. They're saying, I think it's Geoffrey watching from Kenya. Hi, Geoffrey. Good to see you
Mhm.
online today. There's Stephen watching as well. Hi, Stephen. Good to see you. And I know there are other few people maybe who are watching in real time or who will be watching in time to come. And the most important thing is that I want you guys to know that we celebrate you and we appreciate you so much to have you here. So, Abby, so that we don't take this to more than an hour, that was the agreement.
Mhm.
We'll try to
Mhm.
make it so. I just was just saying that there's just something that came through my mind at the minute. And I think I want to say that quickly. And then after
Mhm.
that, we'll bring like this to a close. I was saying about,
Mhm.
I was thinking about, some people love to live a borrowed life. What do I mean by a
Mhm.
borrowed life? You can see somebody who's driving a Range Rover, who's living in a posh life and everything, and you are really fighting hard to be like
Mhm.
them, to live like them, but you don't know exactly where they're getting those stuff from. It
Yeah.
could be dates after dates after dates from different places. It could be inheritance from parents. We all have different journeys. And if you are so happy and comfortable in your journey
Mhm.
and in who you are, you won't be really be bothered much with wanting to be somebody else, as you're saying, being a copycat, but you will enjoy
Mhm.
being your original, God's
Yeah.
design for you, which is the most important thing. And I think that's for me my takeaway from all this conversation today. And so, Abby, so
Mhm.
that we can bring this to a close, I know you are a life coach who is not just a life coach, but you are a certified life coach. If
Mhm.
anybody wants to reach out to you, because there's so much that you work with, and you can maybe just in a synopsis give a bit of an idea, like what are some of the areas you specialize in? How can people reach out to you? If anybody wants to contact you, how can they contact you? And I know you and me will be coming back again next week for another episode, because we're doing this
Mhm.
throughout this period as we encourage ourselves with this challenge.
Yeah.
But if
Mhm.
anybody, maybe just talk to our viewers and say, which areas do you specialize in, and how can people contact you, and then give us some parting shot as we bring this to a close.
Yeah. So yes, as you said, I'm a certified life coach. I work more on, I believe in inside out transformation, that your life on the outside cannot flourish if your inside is not done. Most of us are just living lives with wounded insides.
Mm,
So I emphasize more on inside out transformation. So when you join my program, you work for 10 weeks, 4 weeks of just working on your inside, 4 weeks of your outside, and then
mm,
final 2 weeks where we just wrap it up and just get you to you unleash that
mm,
great person that you're meant to be. Because
mm.
I always say that maybe you should be playing Claire version 2.0 and you're at Claire version 1.0. So,
Absolutely.
but when you get to 2.0, like Claire is now, the 2.0 I see in her, you you become more joyous and
Mm,
things begin to be easy for you.
mm,
So to reach me, my email address is abiscoachinghouse
mhm.
at gmail.com. Abis does not have the apostrophe. I know you will put it in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
description box.
yeah, yeah.
And then on WhatsApp is plus 254 781 uh, 248284. That's
Mm.
my WhatsApp. So those two ways. I also have the YouTube channel where you can just go and watch and enjoy the videos as we learn together.
And don't forget, the important thing is to like, share, and
Mm-hmm.
subscribe. Support this
Yeah,
girl. She's a really dear friend of mine. So if you're watching this, go to Abby's Coaching House on YouTube, and please, please, please remember to subscribe to her. She's a really
thank
dear
you.
sister to me.
Now, to anyone who will watch this, surely, why would you watch these two beautiful girls and not give us a like? So go ahead and just do the like, and we appreciate. So I appreciate everyone for watching us,
Mm.
including my fellow Kenyans, as our former president used to say. And I also am grateful for you having me. Let's
It's
do more of
pleasure.
these next week
Yes.
as
Yes.
we seek to bring the change we want to see in the world.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, those of you who have viewed live with us today. Those who will view in the replay, as Abby has said, we celebrate you, we love you, we appreciate you. It's been such an absolute honor and
Mhm.
delight to catch up with my dear friend and sister who I love so much, Abby. Thank you so much to all of you who've been online today, who've stuck with us for the last almost an hour. We really appreciate, celebrate, and love you. And our prayer for you is that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your souls prosper. We shall I'll be seeing you again in another episode tomorrow. I have a dear friend of mine, another surprise, Kevin. Kevin is a runner, so you can hang out with runners as well. I hang out with Abby. She transforms everything about me, my mind and my body and everything. And Kevin just puts me on the form to run. So he's hanging out with me tomorrow in the afternoon. I think it's gonna be 5 p.m. If you are able to come and join along, that would be great to see some of you online. If not, you can watch always. The good thing with YouTube is that you don't have to be there in the now. You can always catch up with the stuff later on. So we'll bring this to an end, but this is not the end between Abby and myself, because we will be coming back again next week and the week after until we finish the challenge. Abby, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I
And
love you. I celebrate you. You mean so much to me. And I really,
thank
really
you.
want you to know that you are so dear to me. And I really, 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 really appreciate you.
Yeah, I love you right back, and thank you so much. And remember to celebrate. Maybe we should close with a celebration dance, like hey, hey.
Let's go.
And
Let's go.
bye.
Let's go. Let's go. Judah is the one who loves flossing. He goes like, you
Mm-hmm.
want to floss, floss, floss.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Abby, have a
Okay.
great afternoon. Everybody,
You
have a
too.
great afternoon. We shall catch up again later. Bye bye, everyone, and God
Bye.
bless. Bye.
Amen. You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.